This is 5% window tint. It's the darkest window tint you can get. Let's talk about it a little bit. So as I mentioned, this is 5% window tint, also known as limo tint. This was done by the Wheel Concepts Tint Shop out in Staten Island. They do a great job. If you guys need window tints, go over to them, tell them I sent you. This is honestly my favorite shade of tint. It's my favorite percentage. It's the coolest in terms of heat reduction. It looks the best, and you get the most privacy. Nobody can see you inside. If you're standing here and there's light behind there, you'll just see a silhouette, okay? From any other angle, from this angle, it's a mirror because it's so dark, it just reflects whatever is on over there. So from here, all you're seeing is the bridge. You cannot see anyone inside. Good comparison. Not really, because the glare is hitting, but you can see inside here. You can't see inside there. Look at that, you can't see inside. You can kind of see the outline of the other window, but other than that, you can't see inside this thing. Rear passenger, like, forget about it. You can't see. It's just completely reflective. Maybe if you look through and squint kinda, you'll see a little outline. And this is the rear. This one, I'm not sure if this is truly 5 because I had 15 on here before, and then they threw another layer of 35, I believe. They threw another layer on top of a 15 to make it look like limo. I'm not sure if this is true limo though. They didn't want to take out the whole rear windshield, which is a lot of work, so I understand. Any decal you have really pops because it's just a black background. Now let's talk about driving inside this thing. I did a video a few weeks back reviewing 15% window tint, and it's a great tint if you just want the dark look, but here's the problem. It's not dark enough. Not for me anyway. I wanted the blacked out look. If at night I'm chilling in here and I want privacy, no, I don't want people looking at me while I eat food or something, boom, windows up, I cannot be seen. If I have anything covering the windshield, I want it to look like there's no one in the car. You don't get that with 15% tint, you get that with 5. With 15, you get the very dark looking window look. From certain angles, you won't be able to see inside it, but if you're looking at it dead on, in really no matter what light, you're gonna see the person. You're gonna see someone is inside the car. With 5s, at night, there's no way anyone can tell you're in the car unless it's on and driving, or if they have a direct light shining on it or through the windshield. Other than that, no one's gonna know you're in the car. That's what I wanted. I wanted that sleek, blacked out look. The 15 looked dark from the outside, but from the inside you can see perfectly fine out of. The 5 on the outside looks blacked out, very hard to see inside. You'd have to squint or really make an effort to see who's inside or what's going on. But from the inside, look, very, very manageable. You can see completely fine. You know, you can see people, you can see their faces, you can see everything you need to see. You can see curbs, and it really is not an issue. See that? There's a difference right here. You got, let me adjust the white balance. So we got no tint on the windshield, tinted window, so you can see the difference. So yeah, I really have no problem driving during the day with the windows up. All windows up, really. No, you don't have a problem looking at the mirror. I'm gonna take you down the strip because we're in the shade right now. I want to be able to compare the light coming through the window without the tint, with the tint, just how it feels heat-wise, whether I still feel the heat coming through the window. And I can tell you about the benefits of having 5% limo tint. This is an area where the sun is on us directly. It's the morning sun, so it's a little bit more intense. So you see how bright it is? It's all washed out. And it's like it's like looking at the world through like polarized lenses pretty much. Just like boom, 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 boom. Split it down the middle, right? Without this, this is what it looks like. Okay, if I hold my hand out here, you can see the sun is very intense, very direct. A bit more, no. You can see that the difference between the shade part, the tint part, and my arm is actually very intense. So with where the light is on my arm, the direct light, I can feel the heat. With where the tint is, it's actually very similar to just having it in the shade. I don't feel the heat at all. So if I bring it up all the way, it's like I'm just sitting in the shade. I don't feel the heat, I don't feel anything. It has really, really great heat reduction, which helps on long drives or, you know, in the summer. If you're leaving your car somewhere, you cover the windshield. This happened recently. I went to City Island. Their parking lot is just out. There's no cover or anything. It's just out in the open, out in the direct sun. So what I did, took a blanket, covered the windshield, and when I got back, the car was it was still hot, but it was a lot cooler than had I left the windshield uncovered and had I not had tinted windows. It makes a world of difference. Had I left the car in the sun without anything covered, without tinted windows, I would not have been able to hold the shift knob like this, because this is a metal shift knob. Another benefit of tinted windows is glare reduction. There have been times where I've been driving on the highway and it's like kind of dusk, and there's always people who drive with their high beams on for some reason. I don't know why people love to do that, maybe to assert dominance or something. But all I have to do is roll this up and I'm not phased. They can high beam me all they want. They can have spotlights on me and I will not notice. Well, I'll notice, but I won't be squinting. I won't be annoyed by it. I had that with 15s, but you know, with a bright enough high beam, you're kind of squinting too. Between 15 and 5, I love the 5. So yeah, daytime visibility, not a problem at all. Keeps the car much cooler, looks cooler, a lot more privacy during the day. But I know that that's not what you guys are worried about when you're getting 5% tint. And for that, we're gonna have to worry about nighttime. Oh, also, quick little fun fact here. I've been pulled over more for my 15% tints than I have my 5% tints. I've driven past precincts. I have driven past undercover cops. I have driven past regular cops. With 5s, never had an issue. I have driven fully on the throttle, just making my car pop and crackle. With these tints, like just drawing attention, never had a problem. With 15% tints, I got pulled over twice in 2 weeks because of it. So, I don't know. I guess they're more serious about 15s because they can kind of still see through it. They can still kind of identify you. I don't know. I've never had a problem with getting pulled over with the 5s. Then again, I do have a tint exemption, so either way I would have been fine. But that's something to consider. I got pulled over more with 15s than limo tint. So now we're gonna wait till the nighttime to do a nighttime review of the 5%, because that's when it gets a little bit tougher than the 15s. The 15s I had no problem seeing, but with the 5s, we'll talk about it tonight.
Eventually.
It's like, now you see me, now you don't. All right, welcome back to the 5% tint review. Let's go over what it looks like at night. It's 9:16 at night, so yeah, we're in a pretty well-lit neighborhood. That is limo tint. You can't see through it. Can't at all. If there was anyone inside, you wouldn't be able to see him. Privacy-wise, it's the most privacy you're gonna get. Hands down. No one will be able to see you. No one will know you're inside the car. If the car's off and your windshield is tinted or you have the windshield covered, no one would know you're in the car. You can park this and just sit there and just be creepy about it. But since I'm not creepy about it, it has the most privacy. Here's a good comparison. Visually, it's pretty dark. I'm not gonna say that it impairs or impedes your vision at all. I'm gonna say that it does take some getting used to. For me, I actually got used to it pretty quickly because I went from 35 to 15 to 5, so I had like I had kind of like a gradient, you know? I went from 35, which is like see-through, to 15, which is like pretty dark, and then 5, which is the darkest. So I gradually went about my tints, and because of that, I got used to it pretty quickly. I can see curbs fine. The only time it gets a little bit tough is if you're driving alone on the highway and someone pulls up behind you without their lights on, which is like, why do you have your lights off? In the mirrors, so you see, it's a little bit harder to see the mirrors. You can do a comparison right here. So this is with the tint, and then that's without the tint. It's a pretty significant difference visually. Once you get used to it, you can drive with it no problem. I've been driving with the windows up, windows down. It gets a little bit disorienting, whatever that word is, when you're looking at no tint to tint, when you're looking back and forth, say you're making a turn. It gets a little bit hard to see. It gets a little bit confusing, or it plays tricks on your eyes as to where the shadows actually are. But when you get used to it, you kind of get a better feel for the car, you know. And it's not terrible. It's actually not bad. 15 versus 5, I've gotten pulled over less with the 5s. The 5 gives me more privacy. It's a little bit harder to see. I'm not even gonna lie. It's hard to see with the 5s at first. Once you get used to it, It's not a problem. I highly recommend it. If you have vision problems, maybe not. If you have trouble seeing in the dark, if you strain your eyes already, I would say go with the 15 or go with the 20. The 5 is for someone who wants a completely blacked out look, maximum privacy, maximum heat reduction, and that they can still see relatively well at night. And that's where I fall under. I can see pretty decently, and I really enjoy these tints. I think it makes my car look great. It makes the vinyl stickers pop. I can see perfectly during the day, and I can see well at night. The only time this would be a hazard is if you don't have a good feel for your car, you're driving very fast around corners and you don't know where the curb is, or if someone pulls up behind you without their lights on. 5% is great. I think it's worth the money. I should have went with 5 in the first place, but I think if I went with 5 right off the bat, it would have been too dark for me. So I worked my way down, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. It just sucks that it's illegal to have in the city. But again, I have a tint exemption. If you have a tint exemption, if you can get a tint exemption, go for it and get yourself some 5% tints. And if you're in the New York area, go to Staten Island, go to the Wheel Concepts Tint Shop, tell them I sent you, and they'll hook it up. I mean, I guess I'll do some driving shots of the 5% tint now. It's not terrible, actually. I'm letting you guys know now that it's a lot brighter than what it looks like on camera. Plus, there's like color correction and like there's a bunch of settings that go through the camera that make it look a lot darker than it is. With that being said, let's go drive a little bit. Alright, headlights on. So this is what that's a lot darker than what I'm seeing. It's actually pretty bright, it's pretty illuminated. See, there's the people. This is 5%. Now, on camera, it looks like there's nothing. But I assure you, I can see the cars, I can see the dark colored cars, I can tell the difference between the curbs. I can see the edge of the curb. I can see trees. State trooper. Oh God.